Welcome to another episode of Chasing Billy. I'm your host, Cardigan Kid, and joining me is Josh Slatten, the executive director of Billy the Kid's Historical Coalition, researcher extraordinaire, children's book author of Billy the Kid's Close Encounter of the Fifth Kind? Fourth Kind? I keep forgetting what kind it is. Yeah,
Sorry,
how about
another
that?
shameless plug. Fifth kind. That's when you actually establish a relationship with an alien. Just for anybody that's wondering why we went with fifth kind. But
Yeah.
anyways,
So I thought today, since I had you on the camera here, we could talk about the coalition. I know, a
let's
lot
do
of
it.
people that watch this are probably already familiar with the coalition, but we're getting a lot of new audience members through YouTube and the Chasing Billy page who
Yes.
might not be. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to talk about what we do, because when I first heard about the coalition around early 2022 or so, I loved it, and I was on board from the get go. And I thought it'd be cool to talk about what we as the coalition value, what we find important, and how that lined up with what I valued in my own historical and genealogical research, and what hopefully folks may find in their own lives to be a value with the coalition, and what may motivate them to join up with us and work with us to get this stuff done. So, do you want
Right.
to tell us a little bit about what the coalition is?
Sure. I guess I could recite my creed, but basically, we're here to preserve and protect everything related to Billy the Kid. Now, I know that sounds like the same tired song and dance we've heard from some other groups. So I was really committed to, when I started doing this, is I didn't want to just collect money and be a cool club, because I don't, as much as I love all you guys, I'm not here for the socializing so much as I am the history. So it was really important to me that, I wanted to do something tangible that we could actually see, that, 100 years from now, somebody could come back and say, hey, this is here, and we're seeing this because of these guys. So that was really my main thing, is all the BS aside. I wanted to do something that made a difference and something that mattered. Before I got started in all this, I guess one of my first projects, and it was really even before we became an actual group, when I started looking for Chavez's grave, it was just a passion, and I wanted to locate that. And some of the roadblocks I ran into when doing that, it was just the fact that it was just me, just a guy, just a random person. So that's kind of what sparked the first idea. I was like, well, if I can go up to these people and tell them I'm with this group and all that, maybe that will give me a little bit more credibility, I guess. So that's kind of what initiated everything, was just wanting to, to start preserving some of this stuff, and wanting to start finding these locations and these graves. And this kind of seemed like the best avenue to start that. And of course, help finance it, because, being a cop don't exactly pay a whole lot of money. So, I needed some help. I think that kind of covers that part.
Yeah, I forgot I had my microphone on mute, so I was like, I can't respond.
Well, we
um,
can just have awkward silence while James figures it out.
yeah,
It's cool.
yeah. Let's do 15 more minutes of awkward silence and then end.
All right,
Um,
go.
but yeah, that's what you said about wanting to do something that folks 100 years from now can look at and say that's there because of the work that these folks did. That's kind of one of the main motivators that appealed to me when I joined up, is because I saw you guys were marking unmarked graves of folks involved. I think the first one that I saw you guys had done Carlile, like that, and something that I've done. I got into genealogy of my own personal family history in 2010 or so, and so for 12 years I was really researching my own family history, and along with my cousin, we would go to all these cemeteries where my ancestors are buried, and so many of them had unmarked graves. And we found this company in Texas that would make cheap little markers for us, and we would just a thin thing of granite that they would etch on, and we would take those and we would use cement glue to glue them onto a bigger block, and we would mark these
Mhm.
graves of all of our unmarked resting places of our ancestors, and it was just
Right.
very spiritually important to me
It is.
to do that. And I think there's just some of us out there in the world to whom history is a spiritual thing almost, and time and the passing of time and history, no matter what it is, it's very important to me. If I hold a book from the 1800s, it's like time travel or something. It's a piece of history to me, and I value it much more so if it's Billy the Kid related. But in general, all of it. So that's what really appealed to me. And of course, I joined up, and it was tax refund season, so I sent some money your all's way too to help towards Carlile's headstone. And
Yes, sir.
God bless Uncle Sam and the IRS, right, giving us back our money that we've already given them. But
Yeah.
it was awesome. That was my prime motivating factor in joining. But since then, I mean, the coalition, we're dedicated to preserving history, discovering history, correcting history, making it
Yes.
clearer, clarifying points. I mean, everything. Our journal that we do, we have a standard of not rehashing the same old research, but bringing something new to the table,
Right.
and making sure that all these historic locations and graves are marked and remembered as such. So, yeah, that's all the things that really pulled me to it and drew me to the coalition.
Yeah. Like I said, it was just it was a good format for me to start getting into this stuff that that I'd loved and I'd done for so long. Again, when I started out, I just wanted to, like we've talked about in other episodes, I'm just passionate about finding historic sites, and um, I kept hitting roadblocks. I would reach out to credible historians at the time, and introduce myself, and hey, this is who I am, and this is what I want to do. And honestly, I got pretty much shut down at just about every corner. Steve Cedarwall and David Thomas, honestly, God bless them, were one of the too few that would actually sit down and talk to me when I was completely unknown in this community, and that's why I've loved them ever since. Because when so many other historians and reputable people at the time, wouldn't give me the time of day, they were very generous with their time. So which kind of falls into what we do with the coalition, man. I try now that I've got a little bit of this knowledge under my belt. We try to pass it on to other people. We talk about all the things that we do. I like to help people out with trips. I've got 2 or 3 trips that I'm helping plan right now for people that are coming in from, one's coming in from Germany, I believe. So yeah, it's just more of the things we do. I guess the best way to sum it up is I just want to make history better.
I want to talk a little bit about the projects that we've done, and
Yeah,
and share some of the photos of the graves we've marked and things like that. Um,
yeah. Let's
the
do that. Let's
first
go
one,
through the graves and then let's talk about it.
and this won't be in. Well, let's try to do it in chronological order. What was the first one? Was it Chavez, the first one?
Yeah, yeah. He was the first one.
Okay, let's
Him
see.
and him and then Carlisle. If you want to get something on the on deck circle going.
Yeah, I'll just have to cycle through because I don't think they're in chronological order on the pictures. But that's Chavez. This was before I was involved, I think. Well, the coalition was founded in 2021, right?
Yes, April of 2021. Yes, sir.
So how
Which
did you all choose Chavez as the first project, so to speak, and get in touch with them and everything? How did that process go?
formed the coalition with the intent that our very first project would be Chavez's headstone. I'd found the location, which was about a 5 year project on its own. Probably the hardest to date thing that I've had to locate was that headstone, or that location. I'm sorry. But yeah, so I found it, and in October of 2021, if I'm getting that right, we set his headstone, and yeah, so that was our first project, and kind of kicked everything off. We did a little press release. I think it was covered in the Albuquerque like News at 5. Did a cool little story on it, and There was a very small little ceremony. The big ceremony we had planned got rained out because, as my luck would have it, Santa Rosa got the largest rainstorm and collective rainfall in like 140 years, and it happened the day of that. So that kind of dampened our plans a little bit. But yeah, man, it was cool. I got to reach out, and through the press release, I had some Chavez family members reach out to me. I still keep in touch with them. His Without sharing too much of her information, his granddaughter, believe it or not, is still around, and a very young woman. I'll be a gentleman and not reveal her age, but you would be surprised. So, in fact, the great granddaughter of Jose Chavez was just born 3 days ago. So that's kind of cool in Roswell. So,
Wow.
anyways, yeah, that's another cool thing about this is, man, you do get to do some great networking and you meet some amazing people, and that was one of them. But yeah, so that was our first headstone. Man, it took a lot of hundreds of hours of Google Earth searching, and a little bit of luck on Facebook, finding mutual friends, and yeah, so there it is. But yeah, that was probably the hardest one I did, just because it was just so hard to find that cemetery.
Yeah,
I know everybody wants to know
that's
where
in
it's
a
located.
graveyard next to a church, right?
So
Or was it an
kind of,
old
if you go
church?
on, yeah, if you what confuses people, and I get people that initially would call me up or message me and kind of argue with me a little bit, because if you go to find a grave, and I haven't gone on there in a while, so it may have been updated. Excuse me, but if you go to find a grave and you search his name, it's going to pull up a headstone, and it's probably not that one. And that's actually a headstone that was placed at a church that's about a mile and a half from that location. And at that church, it's the Milagro Catholic Church, for lack of better words. And there is a small cemetery outside of that church where they placed a stone just to commemorate him, but that's not where he's buried. He's actually buried at the spot and of course, the headstone that you just saw. And that is an old abandoned cemetery. It's about a quarter of an acre squared, and there's probably 15 to 20 bodies buried there. Most are children that were a victim of the Spanish flu around 1915 to 1920. So, very, I don't know, I want to say a spiritual place, but a very touching place to be, just to know all those kids are buried there. And it's in the middle of nowhere. Thankfully, the property owner there fenced it off to keep the cattle off of it, which thankfully is what helped me spot the location from Google Earth. But yeah, so that's where Chavez is actually buried. He's not buried at the cemetery by the church like you see on Find a Grave. And the next question I get a lot is, how did we know that was the exact spot where he's buried? And Daniel Flores, a historian from Guadalupe County, helped me with that one. And there's actually a photo of that location taken in I'd guess the 1980s, where some of his family marked the location, and you can line up the mountains, not mountains, I'm sorry, but you can line up the hills in the background. So that's how we actually put it where it's at. So that is the actual spot where Chavez is buried, within, I'd say a couple feet, give or take. So yeah, that's where he's at. Not Find a Grave. Carlile was our next one. We did that in August of 2022. We did that on a Friday, which would have been the first day of Lincoln Days. So yeah, that's when we marked that one. Lucas Spears, he helped me out quite a bit with that one. He had actually been to the site when he was a teenager, and kind of had a very vague memory of where it was at. So we kind of teamed up, and I found the property owner, and it was kind of a joint effort. And yeah, we were finally able to locate that one, and we marked that again August. Gosh, I want to say it was like August 5th of 2022 is when we marked that one. Yep,
Okay.
and that's it. He's the wording on that. It's something we went back and forth on. He was. I didn't want to put deputy on that one,
Right.
because he was not really known as a deputy. He was, just part of a deputized posse. So that's when we went with the respected citizen of White Oaks. I just thought that was a little bit more appropriate. But yeah, that was a heavy
Yeah,
stone
because
too.
that looks like a heavy stone. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a really good headstone to get there. I'm glad that
yeah,
I was not in town to move that with you guys.
So, you know, that's yeah. Everybody's like, "Oh, that's so cool." And here's the deal. You know, we've put 4 headstones down. 2 have been in cemeteries, and 2 have not. And again, I'm going to go ahead and give some more advice. If you ever have to lay a headstone down, preferably do it in a cemetery because they are heavy. I had no idea how heavy. So yeah, fortunately, like that one right there, Carlile's is in 2 pieces. The bottom piece weighs about 250 pounds, and the top piece weighs pretty close to the same. The one of
It's
Jose
unreal.
Chavez that we just saw a minute ago was even heavier, and we had to put that actually on the back of a dolly and wheel it to the spot, which was about 100 yards away. So a lot of work, lot of work.
Well,
Yeah,
I
not
know
fun, man.
if you all parked where we parked at Lincoln Days to go to the grave to lug that headstone all that way and up that hillside,
Yeah,
that does not seem like it was a fun time. And it looks like it was
no,
not
it
a very
wasn't.
cold day that you guys did that
No,
on.
no, August is kind of hot, as you recall.
Right.
We got the truck a little bit closer than where we stopped that one time. I pulled the truck up to about where the side of the Great House Tavern was, if you remember that. But yeah, then we unloaded it, and of course, if you recall, there's that hill leading up to it, which was littered with potholes and bigger rocks. And yeah, it was a fun time. And again, I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with New Mexico, but some of the ground's not the softest either. I know that will surprise some folks. So yeah, it's a lot of work, man. It's fun, man. It's incredibly rewarding. It really is. I know that sounds cliche, but man, it is. It feels good to do it. I don't know if that's my own personal fear of being forgotten maybe. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's just really cool to put stuff up. I mean, Carlisle, for example, I mean, he's never had anything. I mean, you know, whenever you get into the history of how he died, and of course he was dug up initially and relocated there when they burned down the tavern, he's never had a headstone ever. So man, just to know that 500 years from now, that'll still be sitting there. I don't know, man. I think it's pretty cool. I hope when I
Yeah.
die that somebody will take that much effort and do the same for me. I guess.
I
I don't know.
I agree with you. It's so rewarding. And that's like I said, this stuff is initially what got me involved with the coalition because it's been rewarding in my own personal journey with my own ancestors, and to do this on a level of general history has been immensely rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and it was great to. I was very thankful I got to see that in person, and that was a
Yeah, let's
fantastic experience.
let's set up the Great House Station where of course he's buried. I don't know, James. What would you think? Maybe 100 yards from where the tavern was. Maybe not even that far. So we've
Yeah,
got some great photos of that. We've got some great drone footage of that location. Yeah, let's plan another show here and let's just spend all that time talking about that site. Man, that's another one that just nobody knows about, nobody's seen. Um, Roy Young covers it a little bit in his book, the Chasing Billy book. I think he
hmm
stole that name from you, didn't he? Maybe it's the other way around. I don't
yeah.
remember.
All I'm saying is we were on the scene first. That's all I'm saying.
Roy covers the site in his book. And David Thomas covers it in his book on Rudabaugh as well. So, anyways, but yeah, so that was the Great House or Carlisle grave, and then
Yeah.
shortly after we did no time passed whatsoever, but I want to say maybe 2 weeks after doing Carlisle's, we did Wendy Cahill's,
Yeah.
um, which was kind of a quick turnaround. One of our most loyal and badass members ever, Jerry Prather, hope he's listening, uh, helped us out with this one. He really wanted to do Wendy Cahill's grave. He was on our board at the time, and he funded this project, and it was something that was really important to him. So yeah, so we did Wendy Cahill next. Again, Southern Arizona is known for how cool and comfortable the environment is in late August. So that was another real fun one. But yeah, that's actually in a cemetery, as you can see. So yeah, that was the third project that we did, and again, Jerry kind of spearheaded that one. I don't want to take too much credit for it because he was definitely the one that did the arrangements, did the phone calls, and whatnot. So yeah, That was Wendy's.
Was it any easier to get to this grave than the others? Is this on public property? Is there a
It's
road
in a
leading
private
right up to
cemetery.
it?
Yeah, yeah. It's a. I want to say the truck, and again, Jerry did this, so I was not there for this one. I wish I was, but yeah, this was Jerry's project. But yeah, based on the photographs and everything, knowing the area, um, within 20, 30 feet of the spot where it now sits. So yeah, I think this was a lot easier. So this is a private cemetery. This is, of course, it served the fort or Camp Grant, back in the 1870s, 1880s. So this area served them during that time. So a lot of soldiers are still buried there. Obviously, unlike New Mexico, to my knowledge, I don't think the bodies from this fort have ever been exhumed. So yeah, it is a private cemetery, but anybody can access it whenever they want to. There's no lock on the gates. You can search. I think it's Bonita Valley Cemetery, if I'm not mistaken, and you can walk right in and you can see it. There's been some YouTube shows that have talked about it recently. Um, yeah, so that's another one. The original headstone. I'm going to go ahead and talk about some other stuff that makes people mad, but the original headstone we brought back with us after it was placed. The property owner actually had no knowledge of Billy the Kid, didn't know who Wendy Cahill was, and did not want the headstone. So currently, I'm holding on to it, and we're going to place it in a museum. Hopefully soon. We're kind of working on some details to get it in the right spot, but yeah, so it sets right where the original headstone set.
And you've
So
got
that's
some folks who were kind of angry that you took the headstone, the original one, out of the cemetery.
right. Right. Yeah. People were pretty mad about
And
it.
I could understand that if you just grabbed it and ran, but
Sure.
when you've
Sure.
got a situation like the cemetery caretaker or owner
Mhm.
saying, "Hey, take this. I don't want it."
Yeah.
It's kind of a
Take it. I
different
don't want it. I don't know what
situation.
it is. Yeah. I mean,
Right.
it's, we have, I mean, Catherine Antrim McCarty, her original headstone is now on display in the courthouse in Lincoln. I don't see anybody complaining that that's not still sitting there beside her new headstone. So yeah, I've got that right now. I'm actually sitting about 4 feet from it in my office right now. But we've talked to a couple museums, and we're working on getting that placed in the right spot with some other artifacts that we found through our own research. So yeah, our next project after that was Tom Picket. Tom Picket, well, I say the farthest away. I guess Cahill was actually farther away. But Tom Pickett's buried in Winslow, Arizona. So I'm hoping you'll do a plug for the song or something here in a little bit. But because when I say Winslow, Arizona, that's what everybody thinks of is standing on a corner. But yeah, Tom Pickett is buried there. Jeremiah and I, that was the first project that we did once Jeremiah became more of a forefront guy in the business and whatnot. So that was kind of his deal, is he kind of took the lead on that project specifically. And yeah, so he, as you see there, his headstone is buried or is set where his actual grave is in Winslow, Arizona. Which brings me to the find a grave topic that we were mentioning earlier. So we almost put that in the wrong spot. So and again, about 2 months ago, it was still this way. If you go search Tom Pickett on Find a Grave, it's going to show you. It'll take you to that cemetery, and it will show you a flagpole, and it says that he's buried right there. Well, the kicker is that's the VFW portion of the cemetery, and it's actually labeled Lot A of the VFW section. Well, Tom Pickett is actually buried in Lot A of the regular section. I don't know why they didn't distinguish that more. So
They
when
probably
we
didn't
got,
know. They probably just saw lot A, whoever took the photo, and was like, "Okay, well, this is it."
yeah,
And that's
I
how stuff
guess.
gets confused for years.
And that, yeah, you're right, and that's why people, you just got to be so careful about the research you walk away and the information you gather from, like, Find a Grave in Wikipedia, because anybody can add to it, and I guess that's what this guy did. And over all the years of looking at this stuff online, and there's books out there on graves of Old West characters, and it always showed that photo by that by the flagpole. So when Jeremiah and I got there, man, it just honestly it just didn't feel right. I was like, man, this just doesn't make sense. So we actually reached out to the caretaker of the cemetery, who's, of course, she's employed by the city of Winslow, and she and one of her I don't know, employees, maintenance employees, came out and met us there, and they brought out, it was an old map. I think it was dated in like the 1930s or 40s of, well, actually it was in the 1942 plot map of the cemetery, and they walked us right to the location where he was buried. And thank God we called and confirmed, because yeah, it was originally from find a grave, it was about 150 yards off from its actual location. So yeah. So anyway, so that marker you see right there is sitting exactly to the inch where Tom Pickett lays. So yeah.
So
So that's another one that.
you guys were on site with the headstone and were initially going to place it in the lot A by the flagpole, and just kind of got this
Right.
inkling that that was incorrect, and then on
Right.
site contacted the caretaker and brought out the old plot maps. That's I mean, that's really good work in my opinion, because that could have been, if you just went along with what was said on the internet or on Find a Grave, could have been completely incorrectly marked. And that's
Yeah.
awesome that that on-site work was done.
Yeah, it was. We've got some photos of it. Again, it was old. Like I can't believe they haven't made a new copy of it since. But he unrolled it out of this case that it was enclosed in, and it looked like the Dead Sea Scrolls. He opens it up, and we lay it on the back of the truck, and he's counting over. And I guess they had every head was put 5 feet from the next. So he found, I forget their names now, but whatever, it was a child, like an 11-year-old child, buried to his right, and another lady to his left, and he actually mapped it off and spray painted it orange, and so X marks the spot. So yeah, we got that one exactly right. Well, I mean, they're all exactly right, but it was kind of cool to say that this is the exact spot, and there's no guesswork involved whatsoever. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And that was actually the smallest headstone we did, which my back appreciated that one greatly, because that was, this was our smallest and lightest one by far.
And from now on, we're going to do just cardboard markers.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, cardboard. Maybe a wood thing if we're feeling generous. Yeah. We've gotten most of those, or I say three of the four of those we have purchased from a company out of Albuquerque. He's been really generous with us, has given us a really good discount being a nonprofit. So we've been really lucky. This
And
stuff's not cheap.
no, and that's
That's
why we
why.
asked for, that's why we want memberships, and that's why we want folks to
Yeah.
join and actually, not just be an online club or a Facebook group or this and that, but to actually sign up and help us spend real money on real things and
Yes.
make real change, and unfortunately it's not cheap.
No, it's. I mean, it's not. And this from your last trip out there. This. Thousands of dollars just for the headstones, and that's not covering your gas and your hotel stay, and that's all at our expense. We don't use funds to pay for that. We don't have the funds to pay for that. We raise enough money to cover the headstones, and the rest of it just comes out of our own pockets, and that's fine. I don't mind doing that. I mean, it's my contribution, our contribution to history, but yeah, it's expensive. So that's why the memberships are cool. That's why we have memberships. That's why we take donations when people can afford it. Our merchandise, we joke around about merchandise. I'm going to go ahead and do the innocent plug again right here. Anyways, yeah. So that's what we sell the merchandise too.
That
Because
was
we do.
Mike Turner designed that, didn't he? I'd like to give
Yes,
a shout
yes,
out to
Mike did.
the artist that Mike did a quite a
Yes.
few logos for us. Some haven't been released yet, I don't think, but he's a great artist and he's done some good work for us.
Right. No, yeah, he is really good. I think I've got three or four more in the bank right now that are going to be released. We're going to do a new shirt that will be released probably in this newsletter that'll come out in the next 2 weeks. I think we're going to do the Bowdry boxing pugilist shirt. I think I
Nice,
showed you.
nice.
So and
Oh,
and, and
that's
Mike did.
glorious.
Right. Yeah, I know that's a good one.
Now,
I wish I'd thought ahead.
Mike
I'd
is
have.
Canadian. we have to say Mike is Canadian. I can't fix that,
Um,
but he's a good artist and a good dude.
yes.
So
No, he does good
yeah.
work. Thanks, Mike. So yeah, so I mean, the what we make on our merchandise goes towards funding this. We've got a handful of donors that really help us out and come through, and help make a lot of these projects possible. But yeah, just despite anything that might be said, man, this is expensive work, and you know as well as I do, man. A lot of this stuff just comes out of our own pocket. This it's not cheap. I wish it was, but it's not. But that's all right. Can't take it with you, right?
No, you can't. And I mean, I've put a lot of my own cash towards some projects when I have it, and it's just worth it. There's no other justification or explanation or anything like that. It's just if you value history, then it's worth it. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
we're not a religious organization, so I can't say that if you join and donate money to help us lay headstones, that Billy will bless you twofold. I'm
I mean,
not
I can
saying
say
that,
it. I mean, I'll,
although
I'll, I'll go ahead and I'm gonna go out on a limb and
he
say it.
might,
I'm gonna go ahead and say
he
it.
might, yeah.
He might.
If you
Uh,
give us an extra little bit of money, we'll send you water from the river down in Lincoln,
mm,
Holy Land
yes.
water.
I do have the hookup there at Fritz Springs. Well, they actually used to
Yeah,
sell water out of Fritz Springs. It was called "Water to Die For," which was pretty clever.
yeah. Very
Yeah, it
cool.
was.
The,
hmm
the
Yeah, I talked
healing
to him about
waters of
that.
Fritz Springs.
Healing waters. Claim McNabb, but hey, it'll heal you. I think Coca
We
Cola
do.
actually ruined that
We
for
need to
all of
take a more
us.
televangelist spin to this whole thing, I think.
Yeah, let's start working on it. In the editing process, I want to hear some organs and some
Yeah,
hallelujahs.
I
We'll
want like
figure it out.
what were they called? Those like polyester suits. We all need polyester suits.
Mm.
Um,
You
but
know, I'm,
yeah,
I'm
we've
just now
got.
coming from the hat. Let's not push it. Let's not push it.
But I would
Yeah.
anyone who's watched this far and who's interested in this stuff, I would encourage you to join the coalition. I love it when I see a new member. A lot of
Oh
folks will
yeah.
post their journal and their stuff that they've got, after signing up, and I always love
Yeah.
seeing it. And the more we grow our
No.
ranks, the more we'll be able to do. So I would want to encourage everybody to sign up with the Billy the Kids Historical Coalition. Um,
Yeah.
I'm
Our numbers we do good. I mean, we get new members all the time. I mean, every week we add to it. We've got our new journal coming out. Volume 4 will be out in January. In fact, it's done right now. Our boy John Lee May's got everything, and he's putting it together for us. So that will be available January 1st, which is when a lot of our memberships, need to be renewed. So all our new members can get, or renewing members can will get the volume 4 coming up. We still got 3, bam, right there, that's still available. That's on our website. Again, like you said, all the information in there is all for the most part, brand new stuff. I don't really see the point in rehashing the same history. You can go to all the Western magazines that are out now, and it's just the same story over and over again, just rewritten differently, respectfully. So I like to think that we do different stuff. And again, that's just part of what we do. You know, to your credit, man, some of the stuff that you uncover is just mind blowing. You just had an
it's pretty
article on
good.
Chapman that just came out on the epitaph, and that we're running in our journal. Where you and I are both working on that Beaver Smith piece right now with brand new information.
Because if you
Yeah,
say one
that's
thing
really
about Cardigan Kid, he loves Beaver. He really does.
he does he does love the Beaver or Beaver. Sorry, Beaver Smith. My bad. Um, but yeah, man, that's it just never ends, man. What amazes me is I've heard people, and I know you have too, that say, man, there's just nothing left to discover, and we found it all. And I mean, just from my little bag of things that I have to research and look into, it's nonstop. Like I have far more projects than I have time, and there's just so much out there. I would bet that almost on a weekly basis between you, me, and the rest of the guys, there's something brand new that we're finding. So anybody that just says there's nothing left there, you're just being lazy. I mean, that's all there is to it because there's just so much left to find. Man, like I
Yeah,
said, I'm excited
and
about it. We've got
you
so
know,
many
it's like
projects in the works.
we. Do you want to talk about any upcoming projects for the coalition? Is there
Uh,
anything that you can
yeah, we've got a
disclose?
few. Yeah, we'll dance around that a little bit. We're so there's a couple graves that are right on the top of our list right now. Henry Brown's one of the next ones we're going to do. I've been doing some research on that for a while, so that is one of the next ones we're going to do. The one that I'm most excited about is I've been looking for the grave of Bob Ollinger for quite some time, as I know a lot of people have. People far smarter than me, honestly. And I'm really excited. I know, James, I know you've seen the research on it. I'm really excited to say that I'm almost positive that we have found him. I'm gonna hold off on giving any more than that right now, just because we're working with the U.S. Marshals right now, trying to get some stuff lined out because he was a deputy U.S. Marshal when he was killed. So we're working with them right now to try and get some stuff lined out. But we'll do a big announcement on that and talk about our research on that and where he's at and all that stuff. So yeah, man, there's some big stuff, brother. I say big stuff. It's big stuff to me. I think it's big stuff to you. So yeah, man, we got so much
Absolutely.
more. I mean, just going down rabbit holes here, but in the process of doing my research on Ollinger, I stumbled across some information, and I now know where Murphy's old brewery sat. I visited with the property owners on that about a month ago, so that's another thing that we'll be bringing to light soon. So, man, you find stuff and you're not even looking for it. That's how cool this game of ours is. So yeah,
Oh, it's
those are
fantastic.
a couple of the grades we have. Yeah, I know, man. It's so cool. Hopefully, with the brewery, we'll go out and work on excavating that site. Probably going to hold off until the springtime. I'd like to get down there again right now, but you know how that goes. It's hard to do. So, but yeah, there's just more projects and we have time. Jeremiah's been spearheading some stuff on Catherine and Wichita, and we've got a couple really cool things in line as far as that goes that we're working on. That's his project, so I'll let him do the reveal on that. But yeah, man, there's more projects than we have time or money, unfortunately. So if you can figure out a way to make a living doing this, James, will you write a book and let me know? So because this working 40 hours a week is ridiculous. I'm
There's
just
not
gonna
enough
say
time
right
in the
now.
day, man.
No, there's not. I mean, if I hang up with you right now, I've got about 3 hours worth of stuff that I need to get done. Um, that's just coalition related. So yeah, it's nonstop. It's a blast. I love it, but man, it's time consuming. But what else are we gonna
Yep,
do, right?
that's right.
So,
There,
but
but
yeah,
for the
that's it,
grace of
man.
Billy, go I.
Hey, that's what we do, though. But that's what to close this out, man. That's why I like the coalition is we're not just the headstone guys, man. We do research. We got publications. We're getting our own publishing company started up. All this stuff you're doing with YouTube and Chasing Billy. There's so many different avenues that we're going down to with that. Your Brushy Bill research is amazing. I know everybody hates that guy, but it's part of the legend. So, and it's fun to talk about. I don't care. It's fun to talk about.
It is super fun to
I
talk
like the
about. Yeah.
topic. It is. It's just there's a time and a place. I don't talk about it too much on the Billy the Kid Coalition Facebook page because I try to keep it a little bit more historically driven. But
Right.
there's a time and a place for everything, and we love Brushy around here. He's why so many people get mad at us, and he's why we're still talking about this probably right now. So,
That's right.
anyways,
All right, man. Well, I
well,
think
I'm out
we've
of
covered the
ideas,
bases.
James. I don't know, man. I feel like
We'll call it a
I
day,
feel like
and we'll start planning some projects.
let's do it, man. Yeah, we're gonna release some stuff on Ollinger real soon. I'm just waiting for the final go ahead on a couple things, and that's gonna be real exciting, man. I can't wait to tell everybody about that. I know we've waited a long time for that. So, yep,
Sounds
that's what we
good to
got,
me.
man.
If you're watching, check out btkcoalition.com, right?
Yes, btkcoalition.com.
Yep. Swing on by there and join us, and let's get some graves
Buy
marked,
you
some
one of
sites
these.
preserved, buy some swag gear, um,
Mm.
and
I'll even
yeah,
autograph this bad boy for you.
look at that, tons of
Look at
stuff.
that. All right. Tons of stuff.
It's going to be a good time. All right,
Cool.
thanks for joining me,
James, I
Josh.
appreciate it, brother. Absolutely.
All right,
Thank you,
man.
sir.